Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now this video is not only for first timers, it's really for any of you guys out there who have a soft heart and tend to be too trusting. It's important advice which could save you a fortune. And I've also included a much requested new story from my hairdresser friend about being too trusting at the end of the video. And we'll have this chat while I'll show you around the Royal Garden Plaza shopping mall, which includes Ripley's, believe it or not, on the second floor. Okay, let's start the chat. Now then, in the West, P for P interaction is very cold and professional, and it's very clear what it's all about, and there's no emotion whatsoever. In Thailand, that's not the case at all. And the reason it's so different is the attitude of the girls, which is what they call sanuk sanuk, meaning it's fun. They want fun. They want a good time, you know? That's the way it's been in Thailand, in Pattaya, since the 60s. Now, although I must admit, in recent times, it has become a little bit more professional with some of the mercenary girls. Occasionally you come across that, especially go-go bars. So what is the most important thing that any first-timers need to understand? It's the difference between reality and illusion. Now let me explain that statement. In the West, boy-girl relationships normally take time to develop, in particular the emotional and physical aspects. And when they do develop, they are genuine. And that's what you guys have been brought up to believe. And generally in the West, when a girl hugs and kisses you and says she loves you, it's usually real. Now you come to Thailand with that belief and that mindset, and you start interacting with Pattaya girls, and you end up in a relationship which appears to be real and involve what appears to be real emotion, but in reality it's all an illusion. Many first-timers are duped into believing the illusion. Wake up, don't do that. It's all business. You understand that? All business in Pattaya. There's no real emotion. Having said that, there's the odd like 1% maybe of you odd guys who happen to get lucky. But as a rule, it's all business. Now what you'll have trouble getting your head around is just how natural it seems here in Thailand. Working girls here are so completely different to working girls in Western countries. I mean, you take two examples which I've been to, and maybe you have, which is Amsterdam and Las Vegas. And when I was there, I felt like it was just very businesslike and cold and emotionless. And that's obviously the way it's meant to be. The first time I ever came to Pattaya, I was utterly gobsmacked with how different it was. It's obviously the culture here. It's friendly, it's fun, it's like a normal great night out with the guys, but you're just paying a little extra for a little extra company. And considering everyone else around you is doing exactly the same thing, it makes it seem absolutely normal, and there's no guilt or embarrassment or anything. In fact, you forget that you're with a working girl. It feels like you just picked up one of the best looking girls you've had for years on your first night. Now this feeling like you just picked up a girl is what Pattaya is all about. This is what the culture's all about. This is why guys get addicted to Pattaya. It feels like you're on a date, which is emphasized by the fact that when you leave the bar with her, after paying the bar fine of course, many guys will take the girl out for a meal together or maybe a nightclub, and go drinking together and have fun together, just like you would with a girlfriend. And then she'll start calling you darling or T-like or something, and it makes you feel good. And then you go back to your hotel and have an amazing time. And next day, maybe if she stays the night, you maybe have amazing time again. But this is when you then hit reality, because you have to cash up, you have to pay. So that's the difference, the way it feels. The difference in the way, if you go with a working girl in your own country and you go with one here, it feels completely different. It really does. And you won't understand that until you come. A newbie should stick to the 1-day rule. Never mind the 3-day rule, it's too long, in my opinion. Or are you going to get emotionally involved, which you probably may be already a little bit, That's the way it gets to you. Or are you going to become a butterfly? 1-day rule every day. And just enjoy yourself, Don't ignore these rules, because you're putting yourself at risk of becoming emotionally involved with the girl, or should I say this working girl, which is what she is. If you decide to spend a second night, a third night, and so on, and she starts to open up to you and show pictures of her family and talking about everything and what have you, you can get hooked. You don't realize it until it's too late, but you can get hooked. And what happens then? And then you spend the rest of your holiday with the same girl. You don't go all over the place, different girls, different times. You end up with one girl all the time. You're having a great time, but it's not what you came here for, really, is it? If you let her stay all the time, it's like you've got a new girlfriend. You're going out together. Sometimes she cooks for you. You're going out getting drunk and dancing and everything together or whatever. And it's completely different to any other working girl relationship anywhere in the world. Thailand, completely different. A thing that you need to remind yourself constantly is that it's all an illusion. You've got this girlfriend, and you've got to this girlfriend stage very quickly, because she does it for a living. She knows what she's doing. She knows how to press which buttons and when and what have you to accelerate the girlfriend fantasy. And if she feels you've got a soft heart, then there's a chance that she can stay with you for the rest of the vacation, for a week, 2 weeks for each, whatever it is. And there's a good chance that she can turn you into a sponsor as well. And one of the things about staying with you is it's easy work. It's work. Don't forget it's work. But it's easy work if you've got one guy. She's not going dancing all night, every night, on the poles and all the rest of it. And she's not going with different customers who treat her badly or whatever. She's having an easy time of it. So that's what she wants. Just going on briefly onto this issue of sponsorship, you may ask yourself, why would any sensible guy send money to a working girl, every month? Well, some guys fall in love easily, especially if they've never had a girl press the right buttons before, and they don't want their girlfriends working in a bar and going with the customers. When a few thousand baht a month means she can go home and live with her family. And let me just have a quick little chat about sponsorship, because it's just guys think they're doing the girls a favour, sending them home to their village. The girl doesn't want to go home to a village. 90% of them love Pattaya. They love the nightlife. They love going out every night, and they make very good money. And they have all the different guys and all their mates, and they like going to bar hosts, which they all go to. I mean, I was speaking to a girl the other day about bar hosts, and I said to her, out of all the girls working in this bar, how many have been to bar hosts? And she said, everyone. Every single one. There's not one girl working in. There must have been about 100 girls in there. So there's not one has not been to a bar host and spent money buying guys drinks and all that. That's the way it is. That's the culture here. You got to understand it. The girls love being in Pattaya. They want to be here. They don't want to go home. If they say to somebody, "I'm going," send money, I'll go home, they'll make some excuse why they have to come back. Trust me, they'll come back. They won't stay in their village. And even if they did stay in the village, the thing that most guys most of these white knights forget is the fact that she's now amongst ex-boyfriends and guys who fancy her and fancied her for years and never got the chance, and now here's the chance to come back again, and guys that she's been with many times, friends. I mean, she probably gets more in the village than she would in Pattaya, to be quite honest. So don't think for a moment, you white knights, that you're sending her there to save her and for you, because that's just absolutely wrong. Totally wrong. And if you do end up getting hooked with the girl and staying with her for most of your holiday, you could end up becoming a sponsor, which is a real no-no. It's a real dumb trick. Now, you guys have been asking me for another story from my hairdresser friend, and I was waiting for a good one. Anyway, she told me a good one the other day, and it's about 10 minutes long, but it's worth it because it's a really good ending. Okay, you ready? So my hairdresser friend has a customer called Lek, who's a good-looking girl, about 35 years old, and she has an English husband called Mike, who's in his late 50s. Now, they met 10 years previously in Pattaya when Lek was working as a freelancer. They met in Insomnia nightclub on Mike's first ever visit to Thailand, on his first ever night out. And he was immediately besotted with Lek, who told Mike that she was a beautician on a night out, and she worked in a friend's beauty salon in Pattaya to support her parents, who were both getting elderly and needed her constant financial help. Now, Lek did actually work in the afternoons and early evenings as a beautician in her friend's salon. And then every night about 10 o'clock, she'd change and go freelancing. So the night they met, they went back to Mike's hotel. And the next morning, Mike said he wanted to spend the whole of his 2-week vacation with her. And how much did she want to stop working for 2 weeks and stay with him? Lek said she had a problem with money and was going into debt because she had to pay for all the doctor's bills and everything, and the medicines for her elderly parents, and really couldn't stop work as she needed the money. Mike said, look, I'm quite wealthy. I want you to stay with me. So I'll give you 20,000 baht a week for 2 weeks. Is that enough for you to stay with me? Lek thought about it for about half a second and then said, yes, okay. And that's how it all started. Now, during the 2 weeks, Lek pushed the narrative that her parents needed constant money for medical expenses and were totally dependent on Lek, whereas in actual fact, her father was a taxi driver in Buriram with his own car, and her mother had a food stall in the local market and cooked Isam food and did quite well. Both were also very healthy. So, Mike and Lek stayed together for 2 weeks, and Mike was completely smitten and making plans to come back as soon as possible, which in fact he did. 2 months later, and had continued to send the same amount of money each month. But this time he said he wanted to marry Lek and arrange for her to come to England as soon as possible. They arranged everything, and they got married in Pattaya. And the next time he came back, 2 months later, that was when they got married, sorry, and then 2 months later again, he was back again, and they flew to England. But the problem started for Lek straight away, as Mike was out all day working at his own factory, and he couldn't have time off because he was the owner of the boss, you know. And Lek got more and more bored and depressed, being alone in a foreign country with no friends. So after a few months, she made up the story that her mother was very ill and she would have to go back to Thailand to take care of her mother. A week later, she was on a plane back to Thailand, never to return to England again. But they stayed married, and Mike still sent the same amount of money every month to pay for all the non-existent medical bills. And Lek went home to Buriram for a few weeks, but she missed Pattaya, and she managed to convince Mike to buy her a beauty salon business in Pattaya near Tukkom, which was only a shop. It had no accommodation. And she got herself a small little Thai type room nearby to stay. So she opened the beauty salon and got her freelancer friends to come, and the beauty shop, it did okay, it broke even, didn't make any real profit, but it did okay. But Lek didn't care, because she had Mike's money every month, and she started doing a little bit of freelancing again for extra cash. Anytime Mike said anything about coming back to England, she would say, "Oh, I can't, in case there's an emergency with my mother." And she also said she wanted to earn money with a new shop and take care of a new shop. So, one day, it was one of Lek's freelancer friends' birthday, and 3 of them decided to go to celebrate, and Lek went with them to a bar host. Now, for those of you who don't know, a bar host is really the same as a gentleman's club, except it's in reverse. The staff are all young, fit, good-looking Thai guys under 30, and the customers are all Thai bar girls, generally over 30. It's not a gay bar, it's purely straight, okay? So the 4 ladies went to this well-known bar host, just across 3rd Road on Soi Bunker. I know where it is, I've seen it. And they had a great night, especially Lek, who spent the whole evening with a guy who was considered to be the star of the bar. He was called Keng, who had been working in the bar for 5 years, and he was now 29, which is 6 years younger than Lek. Now they exchanged line-up details, and Lek started messaging Keng twice a day, saying she wanted him to come stay the night with her. But when she told him where she lived in the little room behind Tukkom, Keng said, "No, I've left all those small rooms behind. I only go to nice condos now. Better you come to the bar and see me." But Lek was totally besotted with Keng, and she spent the next month going to Keng's bar every other night to see him. Now Mike, Lek's husband in England, his money was still coming regularly, so Lek decided to use some of it to rent a nice condo on South Pattaya Road. And during the next month, she moved out of the small room and into the condo, but she never told Mike. He still thought she had the little room, had no idea about the condo. So the night that she moved, she went to Keng's bar and told him and asked him to come stay the night. Keng knew the condo block, and he liked it. So he said, yes, okay. And that was the first full night that they stayed together. Lek was getting really quite serious with Keng, and he started staying more and more often. And it came to the stage when it was Keng's 30th birthday. And it suddenly dawned on him that he was getting older. And this bar host life that he'd been living for the last few years was had to come to an end sometime. And he was worried about his future. That was when Lek told Keng how much money she was getting from Mike, her husband. She had already told him she had a husband, an English husband, but he didn't care about that. And suggested that she could buy Keng a nice, good second-hand car for him, and he could start giving up the bar and doing boat taxi work instead, and moving to Lek's condo full-time, so he wouldn't have to pay for any accommodation either. So that's what they did. And she bought him a nice Toyota Innova. That's a bit like a sort of small minivan, perfect for taxiing. And they lived together like that for the next couple of months until Mike was due to arrive for his next 2-week vacation. Lek told Keng Mike was coming, and Keng said, "Okay, go stay with him in his hotel. No problem, but when you need a taxi, call me. I want to see him." Lek agreed, and Mike and Keng met when Mike took Keng for a meal to a seafood restaurant in Jomtien. Mike even complimented Ken on having a nice car, which actually he'd bought but had no idea. So everything went very smoothly for 2 weeks, and Mike went home to England. But a few weeks later, Lek started coming home late to the condo and had obviously been drinking, because she'd actually started going with some of her friends to a different bar host, and had got interested in one of the new boys there, a young 22-year-old lad. Now, one of Keng's friends from the first bar host had changed bars recently and was now working in the second bar, and he saw Lek and the new boy together, and he called Keng and told him. So Keng knew what was going on but said nothing. Now, a month later, Mike came again, and everything went smoothly again as before. Keng took Mike and Lek to the airport in the Innova. They stopped at the drop-off point, and Mike and Lek got out and were hugging on the sidewalk. Keng took Mike's bag from the car and put it beside Mike. Keng then said in clear, practiced English to Mike, "Something I want tell you. Lek and me are boyfriend and girlfriend. We live together in condo she not tell you she have. And I F your wife every night you're not here." He then turned, got in the car and drove off, leaving the pair of them stunned and standing on the sidewalk. Now my hairdresser tells me that Mike just glared at Lek, grabbed his bag and stormed off into the airport. He blocked Lek on everything and stopped all the money transfers, cancelled them all. Now when Lek finally got back to her condo, she had to go get a taxi. Keng had already moved out and taken his car, which was in his name, with him. This is Thailand. Now, what lesson do you get from that story, guys? Tell me in the comments. I hope you enjoyed that. So please don't forget to subscribe and like and share and ring the bell as usual, and have a look at Patreon. Just click more below the video and go click the Patreon link. You can watch the first minute or so of every Patreon video without being a member. Anyway guys, see you on the next video.